Doof 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 doof.
Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view,
vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Vow to View, your Doof Media podcast, all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together,
we're the Dailies. This week on the podcast, what are we doing? I forgot.
Disasters.
It's a disaster.
Like that. That was a disaster.
That was a disaster. It was a disastrous intro to our disastrous podcast all about disaster movies.
So let's just make this like a disaster of a podcast.
At least why are we doing
What can we
this?
make go wrong? Because we like to watch movies and we love each other.
I meant the theme, not just the show as a whole.
Why? No, I don't remember. Why are we doing disaster
You always forget
movies?
this. It's always because
It's
of
been
something
a
in your
long
life.
Week.
We're doing this because your preparation for going back to school has
been
disastrous.
It was kind of disastrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had another disaster today, which we'll hear about later.
Oh.
So it's like it knew. It's like the world knew that this was a disaster.
See, Elyse sounds very tired right now, and that's because Elyse is very tired.
Because Elyse has gone to bed before 7 o'clock pretty much every day this week, except for today. Cause
it's 9:45.
And it's, way past my bedtime.
So let's get on with it. This is the podcast where each and every week we select a movie, we make each other watch it, and then we talk about those movies and about marriage.
And we buy your wife coffee so that she can stay up.
That's true.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to talk about our disaster movie picks. We're going to talk about our roses and thorns for the week. That is the good things and the bad things that happen to us.
But first, the one show might have ended, but there's always a new beginning. When one door closes, a window opens. And today, that window is The Bachelor in Paradise. Barf. And I was thinking, actually, I wonder how many people actually barf on the show. Because they have so much alcohol, that some of the girls are throwing up.
That's what you were thinking about?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. How many of these people are actually throwing up in the bathrooms from so much alcohol?
I'm going to hold you
for other sad reasons.
I'm going to hold you to 5 minutes today. So
okay.
let's talk about. So what is The Bachelor in Paradise for those that don't know?
So it's basically a bunch of people who were contestants on The Bachelor, Bachelorette that obviously did not win.
Obviously
wanted to make more money and have more publicity, and so they decide to go to this beach, and it's just kind of like, hey, if you can stay in a relationship and you get a rose every week, then great, you can continue on dates and stay on the island, and if you don't, then you go home, and at the end you can decide whether you want to either stay a couple, whether you want to go home before being a couple, or hey, let's just get engaged after 3 weeks, because why not? It's a free ring. So that's basically it.
And I can tell with the amount of energy you described that. You love this show.
Oh, I really do.
We had this great idea. I wrote this article all about Bachelor in Paradise and basically defining what it was. And I had this great idea to read it on the show, or at least read part of it on the show. And then I broke my website, so I can't do that.
Did you not have it on a Google Doc or something that you copy and pasted?
I can't find it. I don't know.
You typed this into search and you said Bachelor in Paradise.
Into search?
Yeah, just search on your Google Drive. Just type in that search.
You want me to do this right now
thing.
as we're talking?
I mean, I'm just going to talk about Bachelor in Paradise. So basically, Bachelor in Paradise's main storyline right now is Tia and Colton, which is really annoying because I really do not care about Tia. And I was actually having a conversation with my sister earlier tonight about my thoughts on Colton. And you know what my thoughts on Colton are?
What are your thoughts on Colton?
Colton, I like you. You're fine. But you need to totally shake this Tia girl and just tell her how it is. And just say, no, I don't want to date you.
Hey, babe.
And then...
I hate to interrupt.
He did that.
But I did find it.
Oh, good. See? You typed it in the search, right?
I did.
Yeah. Why did you not use the search button?
I didn't actually
The
look.
search
I just
box.
assumed that it wasn't there.
Don't ever assume things. You know what happens when people assume things?
What? Tell me what
I
happens.
can't tell you what happens.
Why not? I'm very curious.
You know, you're just
Elyse,
going to remain curious and
I was searching and not listening to what you had to say. So
Yeah.
you were talking about Colton and Tia and how
Colton and
everyone
Tia and how I don't
sucks.
like it. But you know who I love and who I'm so glad is back on Bachelor franchise? The model. I love Jordan. I just I want to have
He's in
him
love.
over for a drink or
What?
two.
No.
I think that would be a blast.
No.
I think he could teach us how to do his model looks. It's all about, evidently, the tongue on the top of the mouth. You press the tongue into the top of the mouth, and it helps relax your mouth
This
to
show
this exact point.
took a turn.
And so you go like this. Yeah, you saw? It worked.
I'm very upset.
Because it worked.
No,
and
it
you're
did
like,
not work.
whoa.
It did not work. It just
It
looked like
worked,
you were,
everyone.
It looked like you were a
It
little
worked.
constipated.
It worked, everyone. You just imagine what my face would look like if I were a model.
Hey, Elyse, can I read some of this?
I mean, because
this
I
article?
could be right now, right? Does it eat into my 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to read this article and then we're going to move on.
But there was one thing I wanted to talk about.
Say your one thing.
So Chris, who I don't like, is friends with Jordan because they were on the season together. And this past episode, or the latest episode, ended with Jordan trying to tell Chris about how he's going to plan his date night and how it's going to be like appetizers with this one girl. And then the main course is Crystal, because Crystal's such a good main course. And then after that, then you go and you have dessert. Drinks and carrot cake. Drinks and carrot
Ew.
cake with Bibby. And then after that, then you go and you have drinks with Annalise. And then at the end of the night, then you go and you have drinks with Tia. Because it's like you end the night and you're walking back to your apartment. And then you see your ex-girlfriend just waiting on the doorstep. And you think, oh man, I don't want to have a conversation with my ex-girlfriend. What is she doing here? But then you go inside and you talk to her anyway. And that's what your night's going to be like. And you're going to kiss 4 girls in one night at Paradise. And man, that's never been done before. And they're just going on and on about playing.
Who's the one talking?
The model, of course. He's planning out the whole event, like how each woman is supposed to be a different course of the meal. And they're going to plan this epic date night for Chris. And Chris is like, yeah, man, the goose is flying high. And why is he the goose? I don't.
He's decided to... It is never a good idea to call yourself the goose. Now, I think you can get away with calling yourself just Goose. And the only reason you can do that is because
Of Top Gun. Yeah.
But he died.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
And every time that Chris wears this bandana on his head, whenever he's in these, confessionals to the camera, it makes him look like Ben Stiller from Heavyweights. And it's just stop.
It's bad.
Just stop, Chris.
The goose is
just
loose.
stop.
And the goose needs to get the fuck out.
Yeah. Anyways, you want to read your entire article?
I'm not going to read the whole article.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
Just give him a little
here's
taste.
A little taste. And
It's the appetizer with
stop it.
I forget
Stop
who
it.
he said it was going to be the
Stop
appetizer.
it.
So we'll just have the appetizer right now with Scotty with his little article. And then if you want the main course, you can head on over to, I don't know what it is, doofmedia.com.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work right now.
Guess you can't ever read it.
All right.
Well, I just didn't say it. My words kind of slur when I'm tired, guys.
Jesus,
Sorry.
You sound drunk is what you sound.
I'm just
you sound
tired.
like you're drunk. She's not drunk.
So, whenever you...
Can I read the article?
Can I just say one quick fact?
My God.
Okay, so one quick fact is when you're awake for a certain amount of hours, your body responds, or your body starts having the same reactions that it would if you were intoxicated. So it's like you hit a certain amount of hours of awakeness, and then your body has the same reaction. And I forget really what all of the stats are, but I know there's some sort of science behind
is
it.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So you want to go ahead and read your article?
I don't know. I don't know if there's time anymore.
I think there is. I'm going to be quiet.
All right. So I'm not going to read it from the intro, so it's just going to be a little abrupt, but the bachelor in paradise is the bachelorette with a cocaine addiction. That's really the best way to describe it. Everything is faster, crazier, and more ridiculous. Gone are the trappings of a dating competition show. Gone is the ridiculous faux prudishness that says people aren't allowed to have sex until a predefined time. Gone are the illusions that this whole thing is constructed so that people can find love. Fuck that shit. Bathing suits and alcohol. It is in this that I guess I can respect The Bachelor in Paradise a little more. If you recall my final episode last week, the overarching problem I had with the show is that it actually took itself seriously, that it had convinced itself that it was doing some common good, that is, finding true love for some ridiculously attractive people that were inexplicably so incapable of building their own relationships that they needed to go on television to have people do it for them. If The Bachelorette is trash TV, then Bachelorette, and then Bachelor in Paradise is a sentient, self-aware garbage monster. It knows exactly what it is, and it happily embraces it as it devours humans whole.
It's true. You know what they call the hookup room?
What?
The boom boom room.
Of course they do.
I love it. The boom boom. Hey, did you guys spend the night in the boom boom room? That's what they say. And I embrace it. I know it's trashy, awful TV, but I can't help but watch it. So, Scott, moving away. Or did you want to read more?
No, that was it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we've got some roses from Bachelor in Paradise that are handed out too. But what was your rose for this week?
You go
what
first.
Was good? Me?
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Well, the good thing that happened for me this week was I had so much help and was able to actually get my classroom ready for the first day of school. I didn't know it was going to look as good as it did. I was kind of amazed.
It looks great.
It looks fantastic.
And they fixed the cabinets. The cabinets don't look like shit anymore, too.
Yeah, all of those gaps got filled in. They put door handles on most of them. We're still missing a cabinet door on one of them.
Of course you are.
I mean, we're missing things, but we knew we weren't going to be fully finished by the time that school started, and we've got our punch list going on. You know, it's the most annoying thing though that we're missing.
What?
Clocks. They took out all of our clocks and they were going to put in digital clocks, and our principal was like, we're not putting digital clocks in. Our kids need to know how to read analog so we can keep our old clocks. And they said, no, we're not letting you keep the old clocks. So they took them out, and then they never gave any clocks back. So nobody knows the time unless you have your watch.
You wear a watch.
I know, but
and your cell phone has a clock on it.
I know, but it's so, I just like, it's easier just to look at the wall of the clock.
I haven't looked at a wall clock since 1997.
Well, you're doing something wrong in life then.
That's probably not true.
It's true. It's true. One thing you're doing wrong. But anyway, so my room looks awesome. You kind of turned your rose into a thorn there. You were whining about clocks. No, that's not my thorn. That's not my thorn. My rose is that my room is done. It looks beautiful. I've gotten lots of compliments on it, and it makes me happy to walk in there and teach. So that's good. That's a rose.
Good.
Yay.
Good job.
What was yours?
My rose this week is books.
Books.
Just in general. Just books.
Just books.
I've been reading a lot lately.
You have been.
I think I've read like 5 books in the past week, and I don't know. I just kind of like decided one day that I was like, I had set out this year to read 50 books, and I was behind.
You did get sick.
And so I did get sick, but I was behind. So I said, I have all these books, and I have all these actually fairly short, like 250 to 300 page books that I think I can just probably knock out. So I said, Scott, you're going to read 100 pages in whatever book you're reading a day. And I've done that so far for 9 days now. I'm only 25 pages into the book I'm currently reading.
Which is?
Stephen King's Cujo. This is a book that I have not been looking forward to reading because it's probably my least favorite Stephen King novel that I've read. I haven't read them all. So I don't know. I've loved reading. Like I've been mixing it up. I've been doing nonfiction to fiction. I've been reading a lot of Obama staffer memoirs I've just loved. And it makes me, feel better about our country. Yes, we still can.
Oh, yes, we still can.
I don't know. I love reading, which shouldn't be a
good.
surprise to anyone listening to this. But I've just been enjoying reading lately, and it's made me very happy. I've been staying up late. I've been falling like the last 4 nights. I think I fell asleep with a book in my hand, which I haven't done in a very long time, and it just feels good. And I'm all caught up. I'm one book ahead on my reading challenge
Way
now.
to go. I get those notifications every day when I wake up, and they send me an email. Scott has updated his Goodreads.
Scott finished a book last night while Elyse
Scott's
was
been
sleeping.
reading a lot while I'm asleep. That's what it tells me.
All right, Elyse. Let's go bad.
Yeah.
What's
bad.
your thorn?
I'm suffering from exhaustion, if you cannot tell.
Believe me, everyone can tell.
I'm really tired.
This is great audio. Everyone's good. Like, this will be a great go to sleep podcast. You'll just listen to Elyse say,
Go to sleep.
"Hey guys, I'm here to talk about the day after tomorrow."
Go to sleep.
Okay, stop it.
My dear listeners, close your eyes.
You're just doing ASMR and it's weird.
Anyways, so the week before the kids came, I was
You were
under
up to
a lot
like
of stress.
midnight every night.
I was up
You
till-
don't stay up late.
I was
and
up till 2 one night and then woke up at I think 6, and I've just been incredibly tense and not been able to sleep, and then I finally got everything done and felt like I could sleep, and then I started having to wake up at 5 o'clock again, and so I'm finally to the point where the exhaustion has hit. It is sinking in, and now I'm talking for a lot longer during the days than I'm used to, so my throat's dry.
And then I make you come home and talk
And
for an
then you
hour.
make me come home and
I'm
stay up, and now I
sorry.
have to talk again.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's fine.
Uh,
But it's fine because I'm just going to, Friday night, I'll probably fall asleep on the couch at 6 o'clock.
That's the thing about school year Elyse. School year Elyse, I can't, like, summer Elyse, I can buy movie tickets on Friday night and we can go to the movies on Friday night.
Yeah.
School year Elyse, we can't do that.
Not at
You will
least
fall.
in-
You will fall asleep in the movie.
You have to give me until like November.
It's 3. I need a
Give
3-month
me
buffer
to November
before I can do anything on Friday.
Yeah, I'm kind of spent right now. I think all of us are. We've been up at the school working.
I mean, you basically didn't have a weekend, so I get that.
I basically did not have a weekend and have been
Sometimes
working every day. And
Sometimes when you say things, you sound very Southern, and that was one of them. I
Really?
basically did not have a week. I don't know what
just
my
basically
accent
did
in
not
there,
have a
but you
weekend.
had your Southern twang came out a little bit.
You
there.
know what? It's okay. It's all good.
All right.
I'm tired.
No more
That's what
thorn-
my
no
thing-
more
That's
thorns
my
for you.
thorn. But if I had an actual thorn, I think I'm so tired I wouldn't even feel it, and I could just sleep.
This is great. This is great audio.
Is it not? I think it's gold. Is it not gold?
It's great, babe.
I think
Let's move on.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's your thorn? Is it me?
No,
Am I-
no,
oh,
you
yeah.
would never be my thorn.
I could probably be your thorn.
I broke my website. We said this already. That's my
I
thorn. I
know.
broke my freaking website and I can't fix it. And I basically have to wait until tomorrow and call. I don't even know if I'm going to release this podcast tomorrow. I'm probably not because there's no website.
But there's a podcast app.
Yeah, but I can't advertise. Well, I guess I don't. I'm probably going
You
to
can tweet it.
I'm probably going to hold it till Friday. I'm probably going to do that because the website. But basically, I have to wake up tomorrow and call them on the phone and
complain.
Yeah.
You have to be an escalated
because
customer.
the problem is
that's the deal. You always say, "Who's your supervisor? I need to speak to your supervisor."
the problem is it's my fault, so I can't be angry at them.
You just got to be angry.
I don't know if I
Because you know what? It's not your fault. It's their fault. Because if they had told you how to do it correctly, then you wouldn't have had to do it this way.
I mean,
and
they
then that
did.
wouldn't have broken. No, they didn't. They didn't tell you anything. It's all their fault.
At least
It's the people's fault.
the people.
It's the people in charge. It's their fault.
Okay.
And you want to speak to their supervisor. Give me your supervisor.
Elise is so angry when she's tired.
What?
Yeah, so the website's down. If you're listening to this, maybe it's up. I don't know.
Who's your
This is
supervisor?
Wednesday night, and the website is down. Wednesday is our most popular day for the website, so it's a wonderful day for me to break stuff. It's really great. But yeah, it's down, and hopefully tomorrow we will fix it. That's like, I have to go to work for 8 hours tomorrow, but I'm going to spend basically all my time at work trying to fix this damn thing.
Don't say that. Don't tell them.
They're not listening.
Hey, Scott, repeat after me.
Mm-hmm.
Who
is
your supervisor?
So fast. Did I get it?
Scott.
Yeah.
You have to be really escalated.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 The hamburger.
This is like a really obscure joke that nobody's going to get because nobody watched the Steve Martin Pink Panther because it was not very good.
I only got to watch that scene because you wanted me to watch it. The hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger. See, this is what I love about Tired Elyse is she thinks I'm hilarious.
I know.
Hey,
he
babe.
did some. What did you do at dinner? And I just started laughing, and it was not funny. It was not funny in the slightest. And it was just like, I didn't even have the energy
probably-
to tell you that it was dumb. I just had to laugh because that was all I could do.
That makes me feel bad.
So anytime
Hey,
that I
Elyse.
really laugh at Scott, it's just because I don't want to fight that how awful the joke is.
Elyse, here's the part of the podcast where you have to talk for an extended period of time. Are you ready for it?
I'm always ready for it.
All right. It's time to move on to the movie part
For
of
the
this.
Doofcast podcast show.
No, this is a different podcast.
Oh.
It's time to talk about our disaster movies.
Disasters.
And you are going first.
I am.
Are you ready?
I always go first.
We had this conversation last week.
I know.
And you said, no, ladies first. I said, maybe we can take turns. And you said, no, ladies first.
It's fine. I'll go first this week, but next week, it's all you.
Okay.
Because we'll
Elyse,
get done with the worst first.
Which
That's how I do it.
which disaster movie did you pick?
I chose none other than The Day After Tomorrow. It's 2004.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I said it.
I chose another.
I chose none other than The Day After Tomorrow.
Okay. You slurred the heck out of that.
I chose none other than The Day
Is that
After
your
Tomorrow.
radio voice?
No.
Oh, goodness. Okay,
Anyway,
talk to me about The Day After Tomorrow.
So it came out in 2004. It was written and directed by Roland Emmerich, who also did Independence Day, which we have watched. Also,
This is our second Emmerich film.
Yes.
He also did 2012. Did you ever see the John Cusack disaster movie?
See, I thought you said you were doing Independence Day in 2012, and then it really like threw me because I was like, Independence Day really didn't come out in 2012, so maybe that's actually a typo. Independence Day did not come out in 2012.
No,
It came out
2012 is a
lot
film.
earlier. Yeah, that was the BC one. Like, wasn't
No.
that right? No, what's 2012?
2012 is a movie about the end of the world because the Mayan calendar ends in 2012.
Yeah,
and,
no, I'm picturing the
and it has
trailer
John
in my
Cusack
head.
in it. Yeah.
I'm picturing
You're thinking
it.
of 10,000 BC, which is a different movie.
Maybe I'm picturing that.
Which
you know
had
what?
nothing to do
There's
with-
some trailer that had black background and the numbers shot out and the picture for it was through it.
This is amazing.
It was one of those two.
Elyse,
But that probably was seen in 2011 by me because 2012 didn't come out in 2012, did it?
no, it did not. It came out in 2011.
So maybe I saw it in 2010.
That's
But
impossible.
2012 would have to come out in 2011.
What the
'cause it-
What are you talking about?
Hang on. No, this makes sense. Okay. So it makes sense that I'm just justifying.
Oh my god, Elyse!
So,
Elyse,
okay,
no,
I'm about to cry.
Elyse, talk to me about this movie. Tell me give me the summary of the
2012?
movie. No, The Day After Tomorrow.
Okay. The Day After Tomorrow is about...
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so sorry.
It's okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
The Day After Tomorrow is about Jack Hall, a paleoclimatologist who must make a daring trek from Washington, D.C. to New York City to reach his son, trapped in the crosshairs of a sudden international storm, which plunges the planet into a new ice age.
Who's in it?
Dennis Quaid is the father, the paleoclimatologist. Am I saying that right?
You are.
Okay. And then, so the reason that I chose this movie was because my high school movie star crush, Jake Gyllenhaal, is in this movie.
As his son.
As his son.
And then who else is in this
Still
movie?
My Heart. And then Emmy Rossum.
Emmy Rossum.
Who I
this was
also
pre-Shameless,
love.
I believe.
Pre-Shameless, post Audrey Hepburn story.
She was also in Phantom of the Opera.
And Phantom of the Opera.
It was a bad
And you know what? In both this movie and the Audrey Hepburn story, her character had to get saved by penicillin.
Huh.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Anyways.
Connections. Just making connections.
Just those connections.
So Elyse,
Emmy Rossum plays a really good I need penicillin to save my life.
so an unconscious person with blood poisoning.
Put that on your resume. You need an actress who can protest.
Oh my God. Hey, Elyse.
Yeah.
Why did you select this movie?
Sorry, I just kept thinking this makes me sound like I'm really like on something.
Because you do sound like you're on something.
I'm just tired.
I understand that. Why don't you
Okay.
talk to me about the movie?
So I chose this movie because Jake Gyllenhaal and
it's like the only disaster movie you've seen.
it's the only disaster movie that I saw.
So I guess
Also, I liked this movie so much that one of my friends bought me the DVD. And when I was in high school, one thing that I would do is I was a morning person and still am a morning person. I quite enjoy that time. And so I would just wake up early, and then while I was getting ready, I just watched the same movie just over and over and over again for I don't know how long. Ferris Bueller was one of the movies that I did that with, and The Day After Tomorrow was another one. And I just have it on, and I probably watched it like at least 3 times a week.
wow.
Could I quote it? No, because I wasn't paying that close of attention.
Yeah,
I was
you were
just watching Jake
you were
Gyllenhaal
doing
getting
your
ready.
like watching and is in quotes.
Yeah,
What do you watch this movie again?
yeah.
And you paid attention this time.
Actually, my exhaustion kind of hit, and I fell
You
asleep.
did fall asleep at the end of the movie,
but I have seen it quite a few times. So
has
I
this
knew.
movie aged well for you?
Well, you know what? This movie, it wasn't ever really like fantastic. It was just kind of like, I like this movie. I could watch this movie, and it held up to that. It was my Saturday morning laundry movie.
yeah, you have your Saturday
could do
morning
that.
laundry thing, and I think this falls perfectly in that
It
category.
does. It does. Put it on TBS. Play it every weekend, and it would be great. It's a great TBS weekend movie.
Yeah, except for the commercials. I hate watching movies on
I
TBS.
know it's not fun with the commercials, but this movie also has held up with the fact that Dennis Quaid, he's got something going on, and we might have a new ice age coming because you know what? Climate change is real.
I was really wondering where you were going with this, and I did not expect you to look me seriously dead in the eye
I did.
and go, because you know what, Scott? Climate change is real.
It is.
It is. Of course it is.
And we better listen to the Dennis Quaids because they warned us. And then, you know what? You sit down with the president and you're briefing the president, and the president was like, well, why didn't you tell us about this? And they say, you know what? You didn't listen to the science when you wanted us to tell you the science.
Now
you
it's
didn't
too
believe
late.
us. And now it's too late.
Yeah.
And then the president waits in DC for too long, and the storm hits, and then he doesn't make it out alive. And so, you know what? Had you listened to him beforehand, we might not all have lived, but you might have lived. So there you go, Mr. President.
Mr. President. Yeah, I don't think this is a very good movie.
No, I agree. It's not not great.
The thing that I think is cool about the movie is, I mean, it's not scientifically accurate to the extent of all this stuff happening like all at once is ridiculous. Like ice ages don't happen in a week. Like the idea of the North Atlantic current causing an ice age is a real phenomenon that could happen. That the melting of polar ice caps messes with the salinity content in the water, and that could mess up the current, which would cause an ice age, but it would not happen in a week.
We don't think, but you know what? We don't know.
But I mean, the crazy. I mean, this was 2004. This was 14 years ago, and
Look at California.
yeah, I mean,
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. Let's talk about Dennis Quaid.
Let's talk. The rookie.
Here's the fundamental question. Is he a good actor?
He is a handsome older man. And so we love him.
And so it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
He's got that smile.
He's got a great
Dennis
smile.
Quaid.
You know what Dennis Quaid? I said The Rookie. What other Dennis Quaid movies do I know? He was actually married to Meg Ryan for a while.
I knew that.
And I had really liked them. And then she cheated on him. I know. She had cheated on him with Russell Crowe right around the time that Russell Crowe was filming Master and Commander. And why I know all of that and remember it in my head, who really knows? But you know what? There was that one preview of that movie that came out in I think 2010, and it was this black screen, and there were these numbers. The numbers flashed.
Oh my God. How did we get back to that?
I've got a great memory.
Okay, so Russell Crowe.
What else do I know him from that I like him from? Let's see here. Oh,
are we just
Soul Surfer?
Okay.
Soul Surfer was a lot of fun.
Let's not make the podcast just you looking at IMDb and listing the name of movies.
Why not?
Because that's not interesting.
I think that's great. It's totally interesting. I think The Rookie is... Oh, no! Okay. Here is Dennis Quaid's... Quaid. Did I say that weird? Dennis Quaid? No. Okay, Dennis Quaid's best movie, The Parent Trap, with Lindsay Lohan and Lindsay Lohan.
No, it was just with Lindsay Lohan. There was not two Lindsay Lohans.
It looks like there were two.
Lindsay Lohan is a bad person.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan pretends to have accents when she really doesn't.
That's not why she's a bad person.
Well,
did you see what she said about the Me Too movement?
No, what did she say?
She said that the women coming forward were actually hurting women and showing how weak women are coming forward about sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, that's not really
good call, Lindsay. You suck. Anyway.
So The Parent Trap.
No, it's not the movie we're talking about.
But The Parent Trap is a really good movie for Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
It fits. Yeah.
But we're talking about The Day After Tomorrow.
We are. We're talking about The Day After Tomorrow.
And
I really haven't talked about that movie at all, have I?
No.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, the real reason that I like this movie is not because of the disaster part in it. It's not anything with the weather. It's really just the people that are in it. I liked the Jake Gyllenhaal and I liked Emmy Rossum. And I liked the library when they went. And I thought, oh, you know what? You love books, but they burned books in here. And I bet you were freaking out whenever the first time you saw this. And you were like, don't burn the books.
Because then they were like, we got all these books on the tax code. And I was like, yeah, that's great.
That's true.
I think this movie has good... I mean, so we're talking about disaster movies. We have to talk about the disaster, which is like the central set piece. So the disaster when it comes to this movie, there's a few scenes. There's the LA tornado. There's actually like a lot of shit happens in this movie. Yeah. Like they have the hail attack in Tokyo. They have the LA tornadoes that like completely destroy LA.
Yeah.
The big flood and tsunami in New York,
that then freezes over.
Yeah, and then the vortex that pulls super cool air down that freezes everything, which is kind of ridiculous. And then the biggest disaster set piece of all, humans versus wolves on a boat. That's really dumb.
I mean, the wolves, they wouldn't have frozen from that vortex.
No, because they have the fur.
Have the fur. And the ferocity.
The thing that I hate about the wolves thing is everything. But the thing that I mostly hate, like, it's set up so early. Like, when the storm first hits, they, like, show the zoo. And then they're, like the wolves are, like, one of the wolves bites the bar. And you see his teeth. And they go back later. And the zookeeper's, like, every animal's still in their cage except for the wolves. And the zookeeper's like, the wolves, they got out. And you're like...
Why not the bear?
So... and then the reason you realize that's because we're going to have like basically our like climax set piece for that group of characters is them on that Russian ship trying to get the penicillin and having to fight the wolves.
You need the penicillin, Emmy.
It's just so stupid. It's just so dumb. Like, I think there are parts of this I really like. I think the disaster set pieces are well done, especially for 2004. I think the idea of Dennis Quaid and his group of people like traveling by foot from DC to New York, which is it's a long way.
It is a long way.
I think that's pretty cool. I like the scene where they are walking on top of the glass ceiling to the mall and that one guy dies. I think that's kind of interesting.
You like it when they die?
I mean, I wasn't happy with his death, but I'm saying as an enjoyment piece of the movie,
There was some tension. They were on pretty thin ice.
Yeah, but there's all this like it wasn't ice though, it was glass.
I know, but you had to give it to me, please.
I just think I don't like, this is not Roland Emmerich's best work by far. I think this is a mediocre movie, but it's a movie like it's a movie that's hilariously like on the nose trying to say stuff. Like it's very clearly like, hey, assholes, climate change is real. And it's so funny. There's that scene where the stereotypical disaster movie scene where the expert knows exactly what's going to happen and is telling everyone and they're not listening to him.
And then you know that he's right because the birds fly.
Yeah, you could pluck that scene out of this movie and put it in Congress, and I think it would like be the way the vice president responds, and it's like he says the climate is very fragile, and the vice president's like, our economy is very fragile too, and it's like we haven't. Like, it's been 14 years and we're still having this argument. Like, we're still having an argument of whether climate change is real and what we can do about it and what we should do about it. And it's just like, damn.
Listen to Dennis Quaid.
And then there's that part, like, where the North America basically freezes over and everyone has to flee into Mexico. And that's very timely right now, where the whole refugee crisis is basically reversed. And you know what Mexico does? They let us in.
They didn't at first until we forgave all their debt.
We forgave all their debt. Which is just like, that's like a movie line that in reality doesn't make any sense. Like, the world is, your debt's gone. Yay.
We absorbed your debt.
If this movie was made today, I think it'd be great if Mexico was like, I'm sorry, you illegally crossed. We're going to have to separate you from your children and put them in a cage. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy that I think a lot of the messaging behind this movie is so on the nose that it gets a little ridiculous, but I think it's trying to say important things. And it's like...
But I don't think that it was hiding that it was ridiculous.
No.
So, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah. So that's the day after tomorrow. Because, that was the problem, right, Elyse?
I thought you were going to get away not doing it. It was like, oh my gosh, you didn't even do your joke. I was gonna call it out for you so you could do your joke.
Thank you. Well, you just literally did that.
So, hey,
It's ruined now.
I know, I did it kind of on purpose too.
All right, Elyse.
Yeah.
Are we done with...
You didn't do your joke.
I told you I can't do it now because you've like built it up. It was a stupid joke about the day after tomorrow. It was bad. Elyse laughed at it at dinner because she's drunk.
Because Elyse has been tired. I'm not.
So that's your movie. Is it time to talk about my movie?
Your movie.
So
your movie.
We got some extra time today because we didn't talk about The Bachelor for frickin' 20 minutes. Let's talk about disaster movies in general. Because I think the fun thing about watching these two movies basically back to back, and the fact that I've watched just about every disaster movie because I like. First of all, I think we need to define what a disaster movie is, because on our Discord this week we were having this conversation of what defines a disaster movie.
You were?
Yeah.
Where were you having that?
In the Vow to View chat, you just weren't paying attention. So I mean, like, because there's this, I think there's this common idea that like it should be something natural, right? Like a natural disaster. But I don't think it necessarily has to be, because I consider Gravity a disaster movie. And Gravity is a movie where I think it was like the Chinese or the Russians blew up a satellite and it caused a chain reaction of debris, which hit the space station.
I've never seen Gravity.
Have to add that one to the list.
We should do space.
We should do space. We should do space. So I consider that a disaster movie. Like, I consider Towering Inferno a disaster movie, and that's just about a building on fire. Either. But I think disaster movie is like it is an instigating event that like causes your group of characters to have to fight for their lives. And there's usually like an initial disaster, an initial like scene, usually around the transition to the second act is when the first part of the disaster hits, and then you have like trailing, like compounding disasters from that. And I think that's, if you think about 2012, this movie, why am I blanking on some other disaster? The movie I'm about to talk about, The Wave. If you think about movies like this, that seems to be a commonality. And one thing you and I noticed, of course, you always have the expert. You always have the expert
Yes, you have the
that
scientist.
has discovered the problem.
And no one listens to the expert.
And nobody listens to the expert.
He, in both of these movies. Yeah, why is it always a he? Why isn't it a she?
Because the world is sexist, Elyse.
Exactly.
It's the patriarchy.
I said today, my kids asked me if it was okay if their mom signed their homework paper instead of their dad. And I said, yes. We are all about having equality here in this classroom. And I don't think anybody really cared.
You should have just raised your hands in the air and gone, the patriarchy.
No. We're just all about equality here.
Great.
But yeah, so there's the scientist. And then we also noticed that, like we mentioned earlier, whenever the disaster is about to hit, it's always the birds.
The birds.
The birds know when the birds start flying overhead and trying to go to safety. You know you must flee too.
If you ever in your life look up and see just a shit ton of birds flying, just run.
You really should.
Run.
You really, I think, yeah. I think it's true.
So, and there's always the other scientist character who doesn't believe the main scientist character, and he usually dies because he pays the price for not believing the main character by dying. Yeah. There's usually like an asshole survivor, right? Like most of them have like a guy that's with the group of survivors that's just like a dick, and he ends up at the end of the movie being like super selfish and like trying to save himself over the rest of the people, and usually he pays a price for it by dying.
Then there's usually typically like a love.
Well, the main character has a family usually that he's trying to save, and then if the family has a teenage-aged child, boy or girl, he or she will usually have some sort of romantic thing with another teenage girl,
or teenage boy, depending upon who the character is.
Yeah, and that's then we have you have your big destruction.
The families are separated.
Yep, they usually get separated. You have your big destruction set pieces. They usually, one thing I've noticed is the family unit. A lot of people die in these movies, but they usually let the family unit survive as a whole. I don't think we see in either of these two movies, we don't see any people in that main family unit survive. And usually other people sacrifice themselves to keep the family unit alive.
That's true.
And that's disaster movies. So let's go ahead and just talk about mine.
So that's the formula for them all.
The formula. And my movie is 2015's The Wave. This is a Norwegian disaster movie directed by Roar Uthag. Thank you. Who actually...
I bet it's at the Og.
You're probably right. Yeah. Who actually directed this year's Tomb Raider, the Alicia Vikander reboot, because this movie did so well and got him enough acclaim that he was able to get his hands on a Hollywood movie. And, that movie's not great. But I think his direction's fine. I think the action set pieces in that work really well. And I think the same is with this movie. One of the things we talked about last week was I saw this movie during a film festival. I saw this during Fantastic Fest a couple of years ago. And I was a little curious to see, because there is a thing called festival, blindness kind of. You're sitting in a theater with 200... I'm guessing, 200 other people that love movies and are excited to be there. So they're all excited about the movie. They're all good movie watchers. They're all really into the film. And so it can kind of influence how you receive the film and how you feel about the film. I've had movies that I've watched at Fantastic Fest that I've come back and I have to show Elyse this. And I was like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
This one?
No. I'm saying that has happened to me before. So I was interested in watching this movie again the first time since I've seen it at the festival, if I would feel that way about this movie. And I didn't. I think this is one of the better disaster movies I've seen. I think what this movie does is take everything in that formula we just talked about, but does it in the best way. So the concept of this movie is it's about some of the Norwegian fjords and how they have mountains that have rock slides occasionally in them, and these rock slides can cause giant tsunamis that will completely wipe out towns. And this is actually this event hasn't happened, but this fjord, it's Geranger is the name of the fjord, and scientists are waiting for this thing to fall. They know that this thing's going to collapse eventually. It's going to cause an 80-foot tsunami that is going to wipe out
Kilometer, right?
80 meter.
Meter?
Yeah. Not 80 kilometers would be very, very, very high up.
I know. I just thought of that in my head.
It's meters.
Meters.
So yeah, it would be like an 80 meter, the stupid imperial system, 80-meter tsunami that would completely wipe out a town. And they know it's going to happen. They just don't know when. And so this movie is about a geologist who is part of the team responsible for monitoring this thing and waiting, and so they can warn people. And of course, because it's a disaster movie, it goes off, and he has to try to save his family, who he gets separated from because it's a disaster movie. I really like this movie. It's really good. I think the special effects of the wave itself are pretty good. You can tell this isn't like a huge Hollywood big budget movie, but they still they didn't hide the wave itself.
No.
And water's hard to animate.
That
yeah.
wave. It's a big wave.
And you can see parts where they cut corners, right? When the wave hits the two in the car, we see it entirely from inside the vehicle. We don't see anything from outside, which I think a Hollywood movie would want to show the car get jostled around and stuff. When the wave hits the hotel, we really are inside. We're in an enclosed space that entire time, so we don't see much other than water chasing people down hallways. So they found ways to get the most out of their budget, and I really like it. I like all the characters. I think it is a super cliche movie. I really think it is. Like we said, it's ticking all these disaster movie boxes, but it's doing it well to the point that I'm like, okay, this is cool. And it's like, look, other countries can do these disaster movies like in a Hollywood. I don't want to call it an imitation. I don't think it's an imitation, but it's like, it isn't kind of the Hollywood style a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's something about this movie that I really, really enjoy. And I like all the characters. Christian is our...
Christian.
He's our a day away from retirement geologist.
Scientologist.
He's not a Scientologist.
He's a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say is I think his family, his children, are pretty undercharacterized. I think the wife and the husband get a good amount of character.
And there's a lot of tension that was I felt like you were supposed to have seen and understood the tension between the father and the son a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it was just, there wasn't a whole lot of that story that was given.
They're separated for most of the time until the very end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is tension there. There's tension between his wife and him. You get the feeling that they're moving to the big city. He's taking a new job in the oil industry. He's leaving the scientific pursuit behind. And there's tension between him and his family. They really don't want to move. And he's moving them because he feels like it's the best for his family. And that doesn't necessarily get resolved.
Well, it kind of does because the house was destroyed.
Well, yeah. But I'm wondering, do you think he's gonna take that job after this, or he's gonna say, hey, this work's really important? And
I think he's got to take it because there's a big rock slide that took place, and
but
now he needs that.
Now it's over. Problem over.
Yeah, there's that whole rebuilding problem, and I think that would take a while. So why not just move to the place that you've already got set up with your new job?
Yeah, it's probably a good call.
I think that's a good call.
Just say, hey, I'm out.
Sayonara.
Yeah. I did my job.
See you later.
I warned you guys.
I tried to do my job.
Remember when he told them?
I would have done better.
Remember when he told them to hit the button? Remember when that cocky lead scientist is like, do you want me to hit this button? And he's like,
what about the tourist season?
Yeah, we're going to ruin... It's always the tourist season. We're always going to... It's Jaws. Remember Jaws? They're like, what? You want me to just close down the beach in July? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? If people are going to die, you might as well close it down.
Yeah.
Let's save some lives.
Yeah, let's press that emergency button. It is scary to think about, though. I mean, there are so many of these natural disasters around our globe that we are legitimately just waiting for. Like, this is one that they are in real life just waiting for this thing to happen. They don't know when it's going to happen, but they know it is. The eruption of Yellowstone is one in our country. Yellowstone is hundreds of years overdue for a massive eruption. And it could change the face of our planet. The amount of smoke, the extent of that explosion is going to be massive. It's a super volcano. And it's like, it's scary to think about this kind of stuff. Like, and I think that's why disaster movies are in and of themselves so appealing to people, because these are things we know we're living with. And we know that they're going to happen. Climate change, the tsunamis, volcanoes. We know these things are going to happen. And I think disaster movies are a way for us to like process that fear and understand them in a way. I mean, we'd be fucked, at least. We're not survivors in the disaster movie. We're the people.
We're not?
No.
We've got a family.
No, we're the people that get hit by the wave. Like, we're waiting in our car and we see people run by and we're like, where are they going?
I'm the person that, you know what, I saw the birds and I'm running before any of you. And if you get in my way, then you know what, you better move.
I thought it was funny that while you were watching this movie, you were like, why are they just standing there? It's like, at least because there's a big fucking wave coming, and it's like, your brain takes a little bit of time to process.
You just move.
Yeah, it's very easy.
That fight or flight sort of thing. And you know what? I'm going to run.
I'm going to fight the wave.
I'm going to run.
It's very easy to say that while you're sitting comfortably on a couch with no danger against you.
Nope. I'm a runner.
Okay.
I'm just going to bolt.
You sane?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to wish that he was running me on a, I wish he was pulling me on a wagon.
Oh, that was a mess of a
That
sentence.
was a really big mess.
Hey, Elyse.
Yeah.
So
I really liked this movie.
Yeah,
I think that I liked it a lot more because I love Norway, and when we went to Norway, that was probably the most beautiful out of all the places that we went, and so it was just really fun to get to kind of see.
We toured the fjord.
We did. I don't think that specific fjord,
No.
but we did tour a fjord, and so I loved that. I really kind of just liked the culture whenever we were there too.
Yeah,
and
you get to see that a little bit in this
just
movie.
a little
right?
bit. And so I really enjoyed that. I mean, with my brain being as tired as it has been, it was kind of difficult for me to be reading subtitles because my head is just, guys, it's so full of all of these things, and when it gets so full, there are so many things that just get jumbled up, and sometimes you just you want your TV watching to be you able to zone out, like on Bachelor in Paradise. And I just didn't get to zone out on this. And there's an option. Scott turned it on Netflix, and there was an option to put subtitles on where you had to read it in English, or there was an option for it to be dubbed. And he goes, "Which one do you want, Elyse?" And I should have spoken up. I should have said, just please do the audio so that I can just listen and enjoy and relax. And you know what he did when given the option? He wants to read because that boy loves his books. He loves that reading.
If you had said dub, I still wouldn't have done it.
I know, because
you never listen to the dubbed version. It's bad.
Scott, your wife is tired.
Just read. It's not that hard.
Anyways, but the movie itself was good. I really did like it. Except, just so that everybody knows, there are some like real footage news things at the beginning of the movie, and this is not a documentary. For a second I thought that he was making me watch some documentary or something.
Because this is
a different
based
language, and so I didn't know, and I asked, and then he was so snippy with me.
Because it's ridiculous.
This is not a documentary. What do you mean this is? Can't you just see that this is them playing real footage, and then it's going to be a story that's just based on this because there's all of these problems with these mountains in Norway, and you know what? Just don't bite off my head. I've been dealing with enough this week, and just let me ask my questions, and you just answer my questions and not try and make me sound like a fool. I do that enough on my own. You don't have to try and make me sound any more like that.
This is an epic rant. Oh my goodness. That's the most you've said tonight.
Just get me irritated.
Elyse?
What?
If you'd just been paying attention to the movie, you would have seen exactly what it was.
Well, my head.
How many, like, I
just wanted my coffee.
I wish we had started this episode with a counter of how many times Elyse was going to mention she's tired. Because it would
take
be
a drink of coffee every time you say I'm tired.
Like 47.
I'd be well caffeinated.
I'm sorry you're tired, Elyse.
It's okay.
I'm glad you liked the movie. You got to experience a little bit of Fantastic Fest with me. A little bit.
Yeah, if they played movies like that every movie, I'm sure they would be great. But I know that there's movies there that you don't like. But I'm really excited about Anna and the Apocalypse. Did they keep that the same title?
Yes, it's the same title.
You guys, you should go see Anna and the Apocalypse. Anna and the Apocalypse when it comes out.
It comes out this December for Christmas.
This December for Christmas. If you love Christmas and you love zombies and you love people being eaten by zombies, then you'll love Anna and the Apocalypse. Go see it in theaters in December.
It is a Christmas zombie high school Scottish musical.
It's High School Musical with zombies.
It is. And Christmas. And
Christmas.
Scotland.
And Scotland.
It's great.
It's all of the things that we love.
That is one movie I am absolutely not worried about the film festival effect at all. I know it's going to be great when I see it again, and I cannot wait for everyone to see it.
I can't wait for that soundtrack to be released. Anyways, so it was a good movie. I liked it. I loved it.
Cool.
I want some more of it.
That is The Wave. It is available right now on Netflix in both English and Norwegian.
That's great.
Don't watch it.
What about
in
Spanish?
English. It's not in Spanish.
Not available in
I'm
Spanish?
sure in if it's available in any Spanish speaking countries,
maybe so.
it will be available.
I should tell my sisters to watch it when they go.
No, why?
España.
Okay, Elyse, that's it for these two movies. What are we doing next week? You forgot.
Next week. I remember. Because Scott's on this kick of books.
Yeah.
We're doing book adaptations.
Yeah. So we're going to do our favorite book adaptations.
That have been made into a movie. Not necessarily our favorite.
No, I'm going to say our favorite because then you have to say this.
Favorite.
Elyse, what movie did you pick out of every single movie that's been made into every single book that's been made into a movie? You have hundreds, possibly thousands of choices.
I do.
What did you select?
Guys, with the amount of movies that Scott sees, though, I'm very limited in the ones that I have seen and he has not seen. And maybe, I don't know if he's read all of the series. Did you read all the books?
I've read none of them.
I read all of the books.
Of course you did.
I read all of the books. I have seen all of the movies. I actually watched the Robert Pattinson documentary that I won in some White Elephant gift exchange.
You're burying the lead.
Why not?
You're burying the lead. What movie did you pick?
We chose.
I don't want to be part of this.
The Twilight Saga. New Moon. That is the second movie in the Twilight Saga.
So I have seen the first Twilight movie.
Yes. The first.
And the very last Twilight movie.
And now the best part, the cream. we are going to be watching New Moon. And we might watch Eclipse too, because he's never seen Eclipse. So we'll see how many we can
Breaking Dawn
get in.
Part 1, I haven't watched that either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did the last one into two movies. Bullshit, yeah. So
okay, well, we gotta watch that.
I'm so glad
we gotta watch all three.
I'm so glad that's what you picked. I'm so glad.
I know. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I think you're gonna enjoy it mostly because we're gonna have a lot of fun making fun of it while we watch it. That's gonna be the best
always
part.
what I do with
it's
your
movies.
movies.
It's gonna be Taylor Lautner.
It's always what I do
I'm
with
really
your
excited.
movies.
Yeah. Okay. But you, Scott, you chose a movie that has two of my all-time favorite people in it.
I did. I've been looking for an excuse to put this movie on the table since we started this podcast.
Of course you have.
So I chose my favorite book adaptation is a movie called Adaptation.
Yes.
And it stars Nicolas Cage. And who else? I think
the worst actress in Hollywood these days, Meryl Streep.
So we are not going to relitigate the Meryl Streep fight. We are not going to do that again. We've done that already. We're just going to talk about the movie next week. We're going to talk my favorite adaptation. This is the movie written by Charlie Kaufman and directed by Spike Jonze.
I cannot talk about Meryl without talking about Meryl.
We're not doing it again. That would be boring.
I'm not going to go into the extreme detail. I'm not going to go into extreme detail, but I might just say why this movie is further proof that I don't like her. Is that okay? Is that allowed?
No.
No?
She's excellent in this movie.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
That's all we have time for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check out all the other shows we do over at doofmedia.com. Well, you can't actually do... Maybe by the time you're listening to this podcast, you can do that again, but not right now. Also, consider donating to our Patreon account. You can head over to patreon.com/doofmedia. That does work. And consider donating $1 a month or whatever else you can afford. What's up?
we keep the money open and we drop the site.
Yeah, that's totally.
I think if we had to lose one, that's an okay one.
Well, one of them is managed by me that I can screw up, and the other is managed by another company.
I think that's good that they managed that one.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, if you happen to be listening via Apple Podcasts, or even if you don't, get on your iPhone and leave us a rating and review, because that's how people can find us. And we don't have any new reviews for Elyse to read this week. And every time that happens, she's already so tired. That's mention number 751.
I didn't say it though.
And she gets even sadder when she doesn't have anything.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. I won't keep it inside. I just want to read a review.
It's beautiful.
Thanks. That's all I wanted to come
All right, guys,
with.
we will see you next week with our adaptations.